Hello, friends and family. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend with me. I welcome you back to another discussion, and I look forward to having this conversation with you. For those of you that are joining us here for the first time, we thank you so much for joining us. I hope that you will find something here that is edifying as well as encouraging and offer some insight to your own experience. When it comes to narcissistic abuse, I look at it from a biblical or a spiritual perspective. It's based on my own faith. I am a believer in Christ. I am a Christian, and I believe in the importance of having a relationship versus just being religious. So I share it from that perspective, as well as my own personal experience with being in relationship with a narcissist. So today I wanted to talk to you about being underestimated by the narcissist. New levels, new devils. You know, one thing about the enemy that he's very crafty about is that he will try to deceive you in new ways. Now, his tricks, his schemes are always going to be the same, but he just dresses it up differently. He just disguises these minions differently. The enemy, at the end of the day, wants to throw off your purpose. He wants to throw off you walking in what God has divinely called you to do and to experiencing the life that God really wants you to have. And so he throws in these distractions in your path to hinder those things. We know that what God has blessed is blessed. It cannot be cursed. We know that God's plans prevail, and they will come to pass. What the enemy tries to do is to change your season as well as your timing, to keep you entrapped in those periods for longer than you need to be, and also to just delay God's plan for your life. One thing that I do firmly believe is that your life is connected to other people's lives, and they need you to rise up into the fullness of who you have been called to be so that you can do the work that is ahead of you. That's how I think of my life. I believe that my life is connected to other lives. And when I came into the realization of this, I became very purposeful about my journey as well as my healing. I shared it before on the on the World Narcissistic Abuse Awareness Day video about how committed I became to my healing, as well as just, I gave over my situation to God. And I said, Lord, if you help me, if you heal me, I'll be intentional. I'll live my life according to what you say. And I will use my story to help somebody else overcome. We overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And that's just kind of my motto. That's why I do what I do. And so that's what I think it is like for all of us, really, that, what we go through, if we would hand it over to God, he will do a work in us as well as through us. And that's why the enemy will always present new levels and new devils. It reminds me of Eve in the garden. It's in Genesis 3, I believe, where the enemy deceives her. And, he really thought that he had done something. He thought that he had overthrown the way God had set things up. He thought he had overthrown Eve's purpose, as well as the plan for God for mankind. All he did was change a few things, because ultimately when God stepped in, he came and he issued, the new decree on what would be based on both Eve as well as the serpent's actions. And when it comes to our own lives, the enemy would interject these narcissists into our lives to try to overthrow what God has done or what God wants to do in our lives. And as we grow and we move on in this life and in our experience, in our journey, we sometimes begin to encounter these people, and it's like, hold up, what is going on here? Now, one thing that I want to start by saying is that sometimes you meet somebody and you can feel like, wow, I know this person, when I say I know this person, I mean like you feel like, wow, we have a connection. We know, there's a familiarness about them. When you encounter such situations where it feels like, even though you've just met, you've known them forever, I ask that you would be mindful of that and take time to actually seek God about that and be prayerful, because the enemy would use familiar spirits, those that feel comfortable, household spirits, to throw you off. And sometimes it's just a new enemy, or your same enemy just dressed up in a new way. So be mindful of things like that. Test the spirit by the spirit. It's one thing to be discerning of situations and where you need to be and those kind of things like wisdom, but it's important that you discern spirits. Test the spirit by the spirit. So just like the enemy thought back in Genesis, in the Garden of Eden, that he could overthrow God's plans. He thinks that he can overthrow you, but he underestimates your strength. He underestimates your tenacity. He underestimates the willpower that you have to fight and to overcome. And ultimately, he also underestimates God. And if God be for you, my friend, who or what can be against you? They fail to understand this time and time and time again. Sometimes you may come from a situation where you're used to the narcissist being a grandiose type of person, or should I say a malignant, a violent, sociopath type of person. And next thing you meet somebody who is everything, calm, kind, well, seemingly kind, but they're more covert. You just are not able to figure them out or figure out who they are. Because once you dealt with that malignant type, that's what you knew, that's what you experienced. And so the enemy would throw in something else, the same spirit, the same type of person, just dressed differently. Because with every level of awareness that you have, you gain knowledge, and he has to combat you at that level. So when you've met this new one, the more covert one, and you're trying to decipher, or maybe you're not even deciphering, and it takes a little while for you to recognize that this person isn't safe for me. And even if they are not a narcissist, but the toxicity, their toxic traits are high, they're a lot, they are not right for you. You may second guess yourself, or you may not be sure. But I want you to know that it is okay to, and you must get comfortable trusting yourself. As you meet new people, and this is not just for intimate relationships, friendships, work, fitness clubs, whatever aspect of life, in groups, wherever, be very prayerful about the people that you are interacting with. Ask God to show you their spirit. Even as you move within this community, it's so important that you start asking this question: Lord, expose this person's spirit. Show me their heart. Lord, what are their intentions? And if they are not right for me, God, remove them. And when God removes people, don't question him. Trust him. A lot of the times, and I want to talk about, like, in this community, it may feel like somebody is right because they know what to say. New level, new devil. It is God, it's God who is going to reveal them. I don't like to hear, and I don't like to see situations where you're trying to recover from narcissistic abuse and you end up in a community such as this only to be exposed to another narcissist. And then you feel like, I can't trust people. That's what the enemy wants you to do. That's what the enemy is grooming people to do, to not trust, by simply sending new devils to each level of life. Understand that in life you are going to continuously elevate if you commit to the process. And in every level that you step up to, every level that you rise up to, there are going to be challenges on those levels. But you are an overcomer. You are absolutely able to excel and to thrive at every level of life. Narcissists always underestimate their targets. They always think that they can dominate anybody. They always think that they are superior. Even if they may be unsure in the beginning, the mere fact that you open up your space and you invite them in and you allow them to partake in your life, you break bread with them, they immediately feel like, I'm at this person's level. And it's not the case. They underestimate people all the time. And when you show them who you are and you cancel out their toxicity, you tune out their negative voice, and you respond to the discard differently, not letting them come back, or you ultimately discard them, it always throws them off. Because they don't expect it. They get gassed up by their flying monkeys. They get gassed up by their toxic supply. They get gassed up by society in general. And they feel like, I'm here. I've arrived. I'm something. And it's going to take you having the courage to rise up, to think differently, and to choose to listen to what God tells you to do and how he tells you to navigate this, and to hold on to the information that you are gathering from these communities that are telling you no contact is important, gray rocking is important, don't respond to the smear campaign, heal, do the things that are going to help you take care of your core wound, go to therapy, go to counseling, invest in yourself, in your overall self-care, so that these type of people repel you. That's when they realize that, oh my gosh, I had it wrong. And not only the narcissists that are in your life, but the enemy would sit back and be slapped in his face yet again when he realizes that, oh, he thought he could overthrow God from heaven. Oh, he thought he could bring confusion in the Garden of Eden. Oh, he thought that he would take care of Job, but it didn't work. He thought that he had Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace, but what happened? He thought that in the lion's den, Daniel would be overtaken. He thought, but he always underestimates the power of God. And I want you to know that the power of the living God dwells on the inside of you. You are an overcomer. You can do this. You have everything that you need to overcome this situation, everything that you need to be successful in your life, everything that you need to reach your purpose and tap into the fullness of who God created you to be is already in you. You were born with it. These are the things the enemy doesn't want you to know. Your purpose awaits you. Your joy awaits you. Your peace awaits you. Your fulfillment awaits you. Show the narcissist who you are. Trust God. The Bible tells us to submit ourselves to the Lord, resist the enemy, and he will flee. And I want to leave you with that today. So I look forward to getting in conversation with you in the comments and just learning from you also, as well as hearing your experiences and your thoughts. So until the next discussion, take care of yourselves and God bless you.